After spending a lovely weekend in the Morni Hills, which is actually situated in the state of Haryana, but sits close to the borders of Himachal Pradesh, I decided to move on and explore Himachal a bit more. And my first stop here is the quaint old town of Barog with pretty views. And what Barog does is offer you a base to explore the surrounding areas. And that's exactly what I'm going to today. And to take me there, I of course have the trusted Fiat Avventura, which has been a really nice companion last weekend, and I hope to drive her again this weekend and have some fun. The Fiat Avventura here is a car which is really easy to like. It gives you everything that you need in a car which you are supposed to travel in over long distance. Number one is space. It offers you lots of space. Number two is convenience features and comfort. It gives you plenty of that. It's like a premium sedan which has everything in terms of infotainment, in terms of practicality such as multifunction buttons. It also comes with airbags so you feel safe driving it. And what really comes in handy the most is the boot space. And it does offer you enough to carry your weekend bag in. Barog is a small village situated at a height of 1680 meters above sea level on the Delhi-Shimla highway and 8 kilometers from the town of Solan. It is named after an engineer, Barog, who was commissioned with the task of building the railway tunnel near Barog. Today, Barog is a place which is connected well to different parts of Himachal. And if you start from here, you can explore nearby places like Jatoli and Ashard. When you start driving this Avventura on a twisty mountain road, you soon realize how well the suspension has been sprung. In fact, Fiat has achieved a very fine balance between ride comfort and handling. And as you start flinging the car around numerous turns on a nice hill road, you soon realize that this car has been really born to be driven hard. She grips the road very well, corners very confidently, so much so that you really want to push her into the corners. But of course, I'm driving on a public road, so I dare not do that. But then everything in the car really complements the driver and it begs to be driven hard. The engine in this car is of course the tried and the trusted 1.3-litre multijet from Fiat, which does duty on many of their products. And in this car it belts out 93 brake horsepower and around 200 Newton meters of torque. And the good part about this engine is also that it's quite balanced out. It gives out a nice mix of power as well as fuel efficiency. And in fact, if you take the Avventura out on a long drive, you will never complain about the fuel efficiency. And that's something I like very much. And another good part about this Avventura is that if you are out on the highway on a long drive with this car, and you get a bad patch of road, you don't really have to bother about it because she's got a high enough ground clearance. So the rough patches doesn't really bother this car, or you for that matter. In fact, the more I drive this Avventura here, the more I get to like it. It's a car which is really good to take out on a long weekend. It's got space, it's got engine performance, it's got nice fuel efficiency, and above all, it drives quite well. Jatoli is a sleepy little village with scenic views of the distant Himalayas and is also home to the Vishal Shiva temple, which draws many visitors. We wanted to start this trip on an auspicious note, so our first stop was this. It's a beautiful temple but not a very old one. Construction started on it only in the 1980s, but today it has become a landmark for people to stop and pay their respects to Lord Shiva. And from the temple site, you get a lovely view. After this, we started to drive towards Ashard, a beautiful area some 18 kilometers away, and it's a beautiful drive too, where the Ashard river flows down from the mountains, and it is a place which offers a nice view as well as a place to have a picnic, a place which is popular both with the locals as well as the tourists. Next to it is the new temple complex which is coming up, and even if you are not of religious bent of mind, it is still a place to make a quick stop and take in the peace and serenity and of course the lovely views of the mountains. After spending some time in the temple complex, it was time to drive some more and visit what we were told is a beautiful monastery on the Solan-Rajgarh road. The Dolan Bond Monastery, which was constructed in 1969 in true Tibetan architectural style and houses around 120 monks and is indeed a beautiful monastery. Just outside of Solan on the Rajgarh road, I stumbled upon this pretty monastery here. It's perched on top of a hill. It's called the Menri Monastery and it's really beautiful. And as monasteries go, this is nothing but a sea of calm and peace and serenity. This is a place where you can sit for hours just doing nothing and perhaps meditating. Not only is this Menri Monastery very beautiful, but sitting on top of a hilltop has its advantages. What you get from here is a nice scenic view of the surrounding hillside. It's really very pretty from here. As you drive back to Barog after a day of exploring, you pass by one of the largest towns in Himachal, Solan, spread out over the mountainside like a giant tarantula. And this is a town which will offer you more options in terms of eating, shopping as well as accommodation. But our choice was of course Barog for its quiet and peace. A place where you can just lay down on the meadow and breathe in the pine-scented air. Or just watch the pretty Kalka-Shimla train amble down in the valley below. A place where you can laze and relax. I had a lovely time exploring parts of Himachal I had never been to before, and this Fiat Aventura that I drove is a perfect companion for a long trip like this. In fact, it has everything that it takes to be a long weekend getaway car. Lots of space, nice engine performance, and of course what I like the most, great fuel economy. So all I can suggest is that even if you don't own a Fiat Aventura, get behind the wheels of whatever you own and take a trip to this part of Himachal, and I'm sure you're going to like it. See you on the show next week.